a hell of a sportswoman, but the gloss has gone off her, the gleam's gone. So I don't see any point in WWE bringing her in apart from, I don't know, the ringside at WrestleMania clapping at halftime. I don't want to see her come into the WWE Women's Division and, those girls work their asses off to build the division up to where it is, and then you just throw in a celebrity. Sure, it's an athletic celebrity, you're just going to chuck her into the mix? No, thank you. Even if she's wrestling Stephanie McMahon, I guess her versus Steph, that type of scenario is preferable to a Limp Bizkit performance at WrestleMania, but it's still just filler. It's not worth really focusing on. But yeah, it's nice. But yeah, Rousey, I think I can appreciate that she wanted to stay focused leading into the fight. But when the fight was over and she just left, I was like, oh, let's wait for Rousey's post-fight interview. And they're like, no, she walked out, she was gone. I was like, wait, hang on, what? You can't do that. That's just bad sportsmanship from anyone, no matter who you are. So no, not a fan now, unfortunately.
Man, I honestly did not even know about that. I think I've only heard like one side of the story, and that was about it. And then now you're hearing all these new details, like, oh, well, now I think I can understand the point that they're trying to get across. But there was about half of that I kind of missed out on because I was still laughing at that Limp Bizkit comment that you made. That was, man, I don't know. I thought they did pretty good at WrestleMania 19, but they only made like one appearance, and that was it. And then it was just like, oh, yep, yeah. we're done. But
I get annoyed with most of the musical gifts at WrestleMania. What was the one? Was it Kid Rock playing, and then all the divas came out and danced with them?
Yeah.
They really wanted the stage. Oh, yuck.
They basically cut a battle royal down just to have Kid Rock perform about like 4 or 5 of his songs in like a matter of minutes, which nobody even cared about, really.
Yeah, that's right. Was that the WrestleMania where Daniel Bryan's match was 14 seconds as well? I remember raging at something.
That was WrestleMania 25. That was the night where they had Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and that just stole the show. And then they had that dismal main event between Randy Orton and Triple H, which, how ironic, about 7 years later, they did the same thing with Roman Reigns and Triple H. Yay, WWE, learning lessons since 2010. Not really. But that's actually, let me ask you this. If you were to have one of the big shows for WWE come to Australia or come to New Zealand, which show would you like for them to see? I'll give you the choices of Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, or Survivor Series. So basically one of the big 4. Which one do you think should come to Australia, or the Australia area, I should say?
Yeah. I'd definitely pick the Rumble just because I am such a mark for Royal Rumbles, and you can't count backwards from 10. I just get more and more excited until I hyperventilate. It's far too much fun. I'd love to see a Rumble live. A lot of friends of mine travel overseas, and they all, we're going to WrestleMania. And WrestleMania is obviously a huge event, and it is the big show, but I would rather travel for the Rumble and watch that just because of the fun. And you get some cracker main events and things like that apart from the Battle Royal, apart from the Rumble match itself. So, yeah, I'd definitely like them to bring that down. But then you have to bring so many people, so I can see that it would be likely to happen. But, yeah, I'd love to see a Rumble down here. But I think realistically, trying to show any WWE event from down under, it can't work. The time zones, I don't know how England do it with live events, and they're all getting up at ridiculous hours in the morning to watch pay-per-view. But yeah, it would have to be on at such an odd time of the day here in New Zealand to make it work. Weird. I recently went to New Japan. Sakura Events ran a New Japan show here in New Zealand, and that was on at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon because originally it was meant to be streaming live on pay-per-view for the Japanese audience, but it ended up just being video on demand anyway. But yeah, you just got to run things at strange times of the day.
Well,
Joyce being in the theater.
Well, you also have to remember that they did do a SummerSlam in England. I think it was 90. Was it 90? I think it was like SummerSlam '92, and
Yeah,
they did a pretty good draw with main event being British Bulldog versus Bret Hart. But then again, it's the hometown boy against one of the greatest technicians that ever lived. So I guess that kind of a draw would do better than dare I say Roman Reigns versus Triple H 2, I guess you could say. But I mean, not knocking on either Roman Reigns or Triple H. It's just story. It's just one of those things where, like you mentioned before, the storyline needs to be built right. The match needs to be done well. That's how you make wrestling work. And unfortunately, I think WWE still has a little bit of needs to learn that just a little bit. So maybe I think I'd call your friends in Australia, have them give a contact to WWE saying, hey, if you guys need help with creativity, we kind of know what we're doing. By all means, hire some people from here. That'd be awesome. Sorry, hashtag shots fired. So we're just about running out of time. So let me ask you just a couple of quick questions, and then we'll call her good. First question being, if you want somebody to look back on your career and you wanted them to remember one thing about, your character Scarlett, which I want to actually ask in just a minute. What is one thing that you would want people to remember most by, for when they think about your career?
That I made other people look good. Occasionally, a lot of people made me look good too. But I took a lot of pride in being a good baby face and selling my ass off and getting so much sympathy. I don't know why I got over so well as a baby face, but I would like people to have seen me as being a really strong female character that they can tell their little girls to look up to. Even though my character's a bit of a tart, just being out there and being somebody you can really back, making the bad guys look bad.
Right. Next question is the name of Scarlett. How did that name come about?
The Scarlet Letter, the book, The Scarlet Letter. So the whole concept of being labelled, branded a tart, branded a bit of a floozy, whether you like it or not. And so, I just kind of, my character was, a hussy tart, ring rat, whatever you want to call it. It just came out, flirted with the referee abysmally, to try and get her own way. When I debuted, and I was a heel. So Scarlett just came from the Scarlet Letter.
You got me again. As soon as you said basically a tart, I'm just like, how many times do I hear that? Really?
Because I was always like a tart when I was a heel, and then when I turned babyface and did most of my run as a babyface, I was a tart with a heart. So I was like, I'm still a tart. I was just a nice one.
And you got a rhyme scheme to it.
Tart's always my thing. Trademark.
That is amazing. Final question, I guess, is for the women's division in WWE. If you could give any advice or kind of give your perspective, what do you think that they could do that could make the women's division in WWE work out, or any women's division in wrestling just stand out amongst every other wrestling company? What is the one thing you think that would kind of put them above the rest?
I think, I'll try to be very brief, but I think what they need to do is give it layers so that you can always have your singles, your feud for the title at the top, but you've got to remember about those other ladies on the next level down. So keeping them involved and keeping a secondary storyline for women in each show is really important, because they don't all have to be out there having singles matches every week, but you've got to keep them there. I mean, there's so many girls that are just sort of drifting around in the background, and they all need a little bit of focus, or the crowd's not going to have a chance to organically get behind them. But yeah, and giving them time. I'm loving Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss. They are having a lovely program at the moment. I'm really enjoying everything Becky does. But they just need to let those girls, because Becky's just so Becky, she's so funny, and they let her do that. So letting those women have a bit more input into what they're doing as well, so it feels natural. It's so important. They've got to look like they're not playing characters in the ring. They've got to look like it's themselves. So I think that would engage people a lot more.
Honestly, I couldn't put it better myself. So that is going to wrap it up for this interview here. Thank you so much, Ange, for your time. I definitely think that we got a lot out of this interview, and I think that, again, thank you for all your time that you put into the ring, and thank you for making, other people look good, obviously, and for also providing so many people with entertainment in New Zealand, in the Australian area, in every place that you wrestled. Thank you so much for all that you put into that. You're definitely appreciated.
Oh, thank you. Most welcome.
So that is going to wrap it up for this edition of the Squared Circle Podcast. You guys be sure to tune in later on in the week where we will be interviewing Cobra Moon from Lucha Underground. But for right now, I got to get ready to go party my ass off tonight because I deserve it. So, of course, guys, this has been the Squared Circle Podcast. As always, you can find us on Spreaker.com, iTunes, Player.fm, PodDirectory.com, Stitcher.com, TuneIn Radio, IW Nerd, Satchel Podcast Player, as well as Castbot.fm and Mr. NTG1990 on YouTube. Thank you again, Ange. And do you have any final thoughts, final words, final comments?
Not really. Hashtag support indie wrestling.
Hashtag support indie wrestling, you guys. I got a new one. Hashtag Scarlett versus Victoria. Let's make it happen, you guys. One more match, please. Please. Let's make this matchup happen. So, for Ange, I am Nate the Effing Great, and see you guys later. Enjoy your 2017. Bye-bye.